Hello and welcome to Invictus Racing League. It's Monday nights, which means it's Gareth and Sab in the commentary box for IRL F1. How are you doing, Sab?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. It's Russia this week, isn't it? It's famous on this game for being really tricky at getting the perfect lap nailed, especially in qualifying, with how easy it is to invalidate around this street-style circuit here in Sochi. We had a super race last week, didn't we, with two debutants who in both ways were excellent. TNF Owen, he provided a fantastic pole position lap around the Silverstone circuit. Unfortunately, couldn't convert that to win, but Hercules, he grabbed hold of that win on his debut as well, and Charlie came in first, but based on penalties, Hercules just stole it from him. So hopefully tonight, based on last week, the momentum that John Polainen especially got halted in his charge, that we can have a similar evening tonight and see how these guys can take on, and see if, for example, Charlie can get that elusive first win.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one that he's been fighting over for a number of races now. So hopefully FPL Charlie will be able to get over the line ahead. But yeah, as you say, it's a tricky circuit. The guys have been complaining in testing over the week that not picking up penalties has been a real issue, and equally spinning on some of the slower speed corners, especially towards the end of the lap around turn 15 and turn 16. So it's going to be a real testing one for these guys tonight to keep it pointing in the right direction, and equally out of the steward's notebook, because there was jokes going around the paddock of you could see the podium changing maybe 3 or 4 times at the end of the race if it's close, because we would see so many guys picking up post-race penalties. But yeah, it is Jumpalainen that leads the way after 3 rounds here. He is currently on 41 points after 3 podium finishes with 2 victories to his name, and the Finn leads by 15 points to Foxy Red 2000, back in second position. And 3 points back from Foxy is that of FPL Charlie in the Mercedes, who has been on the podium for the last 2 races, a 3rd place in Germany and a 2nd place in Britain last week. But he is missing that gold star next to that name, that one, as you say, elusive race victory. But yep, as we alluded to, as you can see on screen, it is the Russian Grand Prix. It's the 4th round of the IRL F1 League, the Sochi Autodrome. 5.8 kilometers, 3.36 miles, the 3rd longest on the F1 calendar. Distance to turn 1, it's around 450 meters, and of course turn 1 is that slight kink, so it doesn't quite count as turn 2, which is the end of this long straight. Longest straight though is that of the exit of turn 18 down to turn 2, and that is 600, just under a mile actually, and top speed around here 214 on the approach to turn 2. One of the fastest of the season actually. Full throttle 60% of the lap. ERS demands around here relatively low, so the guys won't have to worry too much about energy recovery, because there are a lot of heavy braking zones for them to recover a lot of that electrical energy. Gear changes around 40 over the lap, and that makes 200 or 2,120 over 50% race distance this evening. And Sab, it's been called a little bit of a car park in the past, and there's definitely not much life to it. And we've talked about the Russian Grand Prix in our podcast, which of course you can hear on Thursday nights. And it's not one of the fan favourites, but it's a test for these guys, because it's not one that we often see on the calendar.
It is, I agree, and it's real to say. I always find the middle sector, especially before that second long straight, can be really particularly tricky. If you ever so slightly run wide around there, you can find yourself picking up quite a few warnings. So, like you say, we could have an opportunity here where penalties could end up deciding the race victory tonight, or even a podium, which hopefully that won't be the case. We want people to be able to win on merit and not on penalties, but if that's the case. But yeah, the Russian Grand Prix, I'm not particularly a fan of it. Like you say, not many people are. It is a bit soulless. It's a bit tricky. It's a bit awkward. But I'm sure tonight, with the long straights and the DRS available down there, we should see an opportunity at least for some overtakes and some close battles going into those corners at the end of them straights.
Yeah, absolutely. You should see a couple of daring overtakes, I'd say, as well. We know that you can make moves easily down into the likes of turn 2, but will anyone brave that turn 3, sweeping bend, overtake into turn 4. We've seen it done in the real F1. Of course, Charles Leclerc has done it a few times, and yeah, it's a move that can be made. But apart from that, it's of course 2 DRS zones on the exit of turn 18 down towards turn 2, and on the exit of turn 10 through to turn 12/13. And we've got 16 drivers on the grid tonight. We're missing a few. One of them, including Hercules, unfortunately, who was unable to join us this evening. So it's a real shame that we're not going to have another wicked battle between Hercules, Charlie, and Jumper Liner, because those guys have been absolutely mega so far when it comes to battling with each other. And Charlie saying it's a DRS train this evening, and it's another one of those tracks where you can get caught in that DRS, and it's looking rather nice out there weather-wise for quali, so the guys will not have to worry about that green intermediate tyre at the moment, and hopefully they'll get out on track on a couple of dry compounds of tyres. And in fact, we will quickly check on board with what these guys will be selecting for the first run of their session. And Sab, we've seen qualifying go well for the likes of TNF Owen in his first race last week. He fell back later in the race, just kind of fell off the pace. And what are you expecting from this evening? Is it the same? Are we going to expect maybe an Owen on pole again, or are we going to get a surprise from someone that maybe hasn't been so far up the grid this season?
Well, that is an interesting question, isn't it? You obviously can't rule out John Polainen. He's been absolutely mighty so far this season, but TNF Owen certainly has to be kept an eye on. Nobody probably was expecting him as the new guy coming in to jump straight to the top of the table, but there is so many people on this grid tonight, isn't there, who's got the potential to grab that pole position. Warris Lander, you've got White Fountain, Sam of the Pito, you've got so many names on this grid at the moment to take the pole position, so I couldn't possibly predict one, as we see a few cars now heading out there on the track. I'm currently looking at FPL Charlie. He's straight out there on the soft tyres, so looks like there's been no messing about from him. I assume he might have one feeler lap to see how he gets on, but it's going to be fascinating, isn't it, tonight with qualifying, because everybody will be pushing the limits, and if you like I alluded to, if you just slightly get it wide or slightly cut a corner, that's your lap ruined, and all that pushing and hard effort could find yourself 5, 6, 7 places down the grid. So it's going to be a very tricky session for everybody out there tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be, as we just see the weather report coming in, it's going to be all dry for qualifying and for the race. So these guys are out on, as you can see, a lot of them going for that Redwood soft tyre. So the softest compound of rubber. It will give you the most amount of grip on the exits of these corners, and TNF Owen will be the first one to come across the line and start a flying lap. Goes disc brakes glowing orange as he crossed the start-finish line to go down this long straight. Slight kink around turn 1, DRS open for it. Obviously you want to have a stable back end, so you don't lose the back end ever so slightly going around that kink. Now down to turn 2, locks up the front right ever so slightly, but does manage to stay within the confines of the white lines on either side of the road. And they're heading around turn 3 now, down to a heavy braking zone at turn 4. You can see the car shifting from the back to front there as all the brake pressure went to the front hand part of the car. Now braking down for turn 6 and turn 7, short burst up towards turn 8, and it's nicely done here so far for Owen. It's relatively clean, not running out wide anywhere, and it's now up towards turn 10 DRS detection zone. We're just back there, so you'll see now in just a few moments that flap will open. There it goes, and the Williams now heading down the second DRS zone around the very slight kink at turn 11, down to another heavy braking zone here at turn 12 and 13. Almost a mini chicane like, doubles up in just a fraction of a second out of turn 13 and 14, turns into turn 15 and 16 off camber here, so very easy to overdo the car on the exit and turn it around, and we'll see if Owen sticks with it. He does, and he's going to come round at the final 2 corners to set the first representative time of the session. TNF Owen does his first lap, and it's currently a 1:31.831.
I'm just I'm still on board with FPL Charlie. He's coming round now to finish his lap. Will he stick it out? He is sticking it out, so this lap should be good as Sam of the Pito with a 1:31.7 goes quicker than TNFO. Where will FPL Charlie put his car? In the Mercedes, he jumps up to third with a 1:32.2, so not really that representative at the moment for FPL Charlie. He'll know he'll be able to go quicker around here.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll just check in with the likes of Foxy Red 2000 in the Alfa Romeo, and he's another driver, of course, that has started off the season very nicely indeed, and although he's maybe not as far up in the points as he'd like, only 26 points after 3 races because of finishing off at the podium for the last 2 races, he has managed to get himself right up in the mix. Oh, gets it all out of shape there on the entry to turn 13. Out onto the runoff area there, so luckily for him the wall wasn't too close, because he probably would have lost the front end, or at least the front wing there. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a bailout of this one for Foxy. Is he going to go for a secondary lap on it? It looks like he is on the soft tyres, which is unlike him, because usually we see him go out on a harder compound to start with and get that bank lap in and then improve, but it is a 36.1 for him, of course, after making that mistake. White Fountain in the meantime has currently locked out the front row with his Haas teammate, and Fountain does a 31.7, so 400 of a second faster than Sam.
I'm on now with John Polainen. He must have invalidated on his first flying lap. He didn't set a time. He's currently out there now having another go at it. He's in the middle sector now, just about to head to the final sector. Will we see John Polainen get his first timed lap on the scoreboard tonight? He's coming round the last few corners now. It remains to be seen. We've got a few yellow flags waving, I assume for slow running cars. John Polainen is bailing out of it, so he's coming straight into the pits, so no time set yet for the championship current leader.
And currently on board with Speed Queen 80, got the hard tyres on. You can see the white walls on the Toro Rosso. One of only very few drivers that have decided to go for it, but of course that pink and yellow helmet always adorning the cockpit, as we see from her, and she's been on and off the pace so far this season. We've seen flashes of her old self, but we'll see, does she stick with it? No, she's also going to come into the box, so just a sighter lap for her. And evening to everyone joining the stream tonight. Good to have us along. Let us know if you want to see anything, want to chat about anything. Equally, if you aren't already, make sure you subscribed to the channel for the race and for more content across the week. And and equally, if you're enjoying Sab and I's commentary, make sure you press that like button. Helps out with that pesky YouTube algorithm, helps us get more recommendations throughout the YouTube community. And just checking in here to see what else we've got going on board. Of course, we had this top 4 currently of White Fountain, Sam, TNF Owen and Charlie Warrislander gets himself up into the top 5. Zyman, good lap from him, but 33 flat, and Alex equally on 33 flat, so it's a good banker lap from those two. And currently we've got Burmeister, and we will just find out where he is on track in the Ferrari. He's coming up to the final few corners now, it looks like. Am I wrong? Oh no, I'm slightly wrong there. Unfortunately, this track does look like a car park. All the corners almost look exactly the same. Yeah, on board now with Burmeister in the Ferrari. Can he set a decent time on these tyres? He's got a couple of cars ahead of him, so that might just compromise him when it comes to that dirty air. Of course, the airflow will have been disturbed, so may not get the same amount of grip levels going into some of the corners as he would wish. One of the Alfa Romeos gets out of the way, but he's got DRS going down towards the heavy braking zone. There's a Toro Rosso, looks like, just ahead of him, so is that going to cost him any time as he starts to catch up to him? Looks as though the Toro Rosso is just about, it's the Williams, sorry, just about far enough ahead to not give him too much trouble when it comes to any sort of air turbulence. The Williams getting out of the way there, and it's allowing Burmeister to come and complete his lap, and he's going to come across the line. And what does the Dutchman do in the Ferrari? He goes up into 6th position. Good lap there. It's a 32.384, fractionally down on Warrislander.
It's looking like these soft tyres are lasting more than one lap. CPI Alex, he's done 3 laps out there on his soft tyres, and on his 3rd lap has found his fastest time so far. It's jumped him up to 7th place, just ahead of Simon. He wasn't in the 33s, he's now into 1:32.7. So it looks like tonight those soft tyres are easily the most favourable tyres for everybody to go on. It'd be very surprising if Rasty decides to stay on those hard tyres, because at the moment CP Alex is finding time with more than one lap.
Yep, as Meg Lappy goes up into 8th position, so we'll see if he goes for another lap on those tyres, you were saying. And we'll just check in with Harry, who's out there as well. And as you say, everyone deciding as we go on board with Harry, as he decides to take a detour off to downtown Sochi there. So maybe not on the black stuff as he was hoping, but he's going to continue with the lap, or does he bail out of it? It looks like he may have... Ooh. Yeah, it looks like he's bailed out of that one. They're just trying to listen to the engine notes in the back of that Williams, and his teammate TNF Owen has improved up to 3rd position. Oh, not improved. Has he improved his time? Can't really tell from there. Sorry, I may be completely wrong, but his teammate is currently in 3rd position. So Harry will be looking at improving. Jumperlinen, he's out on track once again. Another set of the soft tyres for him, and as we've heard already, it's going to be a dry race, so it's going to be a long run down to turn 2 for these guys. And of course, you want to give yourself the advantage of being on the rubber that gives you the most amount of grip off the line. We've got yellow in sector 3 at the moment. We'll see if that's just for a slow car, but jumper line and DRS activated down through turn 12 there into the braking zone at turn 13. Nicely done there. No lockup, runs out slightly deep into the entry at turn 13 and 14. Onto the rumble strips there. Won't cost you too much time now. It's this corner here, can catch out even the most seasoned of veterans. Oh, just about misses the Tech Pro barrier there on the exit of the corner. Just seemed to get a little bit too much power down on the exit, and he does bail out once again. So that's 2 runs down for Jumperline and no lap set.
I was riding on board with him shortly before you caught up with him, and it was a really scruffy lap for him by his standards anyway. He was running wide at least 2 or 3 corners before you got on board with him, so he's finding it tough out there at the moment. Just maybe a tweak of the setup to find the right find the right line round this circuit at the moment. But a troubled start for Jumperline, and at the moment I'm riding on board with one guy you was briefly talking about, and that's Harry B. He's in the 2nd sector now. It'll be remain to see if he does see this one out. He's got yellow flags ahead of him, and he's slowed right down. There is a car. There's a White Fountain. White Fountain has stopped on track now. Has he hit the wall? White Fountain isn't really moving at the moment, so just coming out of that from the long straight to the left and right. White Fountain, I don't know whether he was just trying to keep out of people's way, but he was right up against the wall there, parked as Harry, the one I was talking about, is back in the pit lane. So at the moment, John Pine and Harry, 2 quick guys as we know, haven't set a time yet.
No, and we've seen Harry struggle in qualifying so far this season, so he'll be looking at rectifying that, having to try and set another time. Speed Queen, she's now back out after doing that sighter lap and a half. She's decided to go with the rest of the crowd. It's only Rast who's currently on the medium tyre that's decided to possibly change up this strategy. Now, what can Speed Queen do? She runs down through turn 1 now. She hasn't got the DRS open.
She's just set P4. She is at the moment 1:31.8.
Oh,
just finished a fine lap.
Do apologise. I did not even see that. So yeah, she was on a fast lap on to P4. So that'll be why she wasn't going any faster, guys. Don't worry about that. That's just me being a little bit of a crofty there. We'll just see if we can find out from anyone else who is on track. Or Adria Lockdot just took a corner without even trying this. I'm going to guess that maybe a slight invalidation from the Spaniard. We'll see what Zyman's doing. We haven't been on board with Zyman so far this session. He is currently a 2nd down on his fastest time, looking through sector 2 there. So no improvement so far for the Swede, and we'll see if he goes, maybe comes into the box. He's got just under 5 minutes left to go in the session, so enough time to come in and set another time on a set of new rubber. Of course, you want to get yourself onto the best compounder tyre starting for the race. You don't want to have done extra laps, and he does. So the Red Bull into the pit box, and 4 minutes and 38 seconds left to go in the session. Sab, what are we looking at? Because we've currently got a Haas front row lockout by 400ths of a second.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because the last few people I've been riding on board with, they've really struggled around here tonight, and we did say it is a tough track to get qualifying nailed here. I've seen a few people running very wide in places and having to bail out on their laps. I'm currently riding on board with Fox. He is going quicker. I'm not sure if this is going to be invalidated, but at the moment he is going quicker. He's down the back straight at the moment. He's down now, so he's had a bad last few corners. He was up by a couple of tenths, and I think he may, unless he can really find it in his last few corners now, he may not improve. And I think that's been a pattern so far. Is people either getting the invalidation, as Foxred is bailing out, he's coming to the pits now, he's either getting it wrong, or they're just getting the invalidations wrong. People are really finding it difficult at the moment to improve around here. As we see, for example, FPL Charlie, he's going out once again, and since that first time he set really early on in the qualifying, he's not improved either. So it just shows you this Sochi Autodrome is really one tough nut to crack.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of drivers coming for their final laps on the outlap right now, so we'll just check in with Charlie, who's on his outlap. And in the Mercedes, where is he on track? He looks like he's coming up towards the end of the lap to start his final flying lap with just over 3 minutes left to go in the session, so he would have the opportunity of probably setting another afterwards if he wanted to do a double. But of course, as we've said, you don't want to put any extra life onto those tyres if you can help it. So Charlie will go on board with the Mercedes driver for this one and see what he can do, and we'll see what lines he takes. So Charlie, if you're watching, there we're on board right above your head, so we're going to see how you take us round this Sochi Autodrome. We've gone round turn 1, now we're into turn 2, heavy braking zone. Now open it up for turn 3, which is of course this long left-hander. Stays off the apex there, so it gives himself a lot more turn in when it comes to running out slightly wide in here to turn 4. Short stretch down towards turn 5, not getting up too high, of course. Now what's he just about topping over into 6th gear there, down into 4th gear. Now it's a run through to turn 6, now into turn 7, slight right-hander there, and now it's almost a quick double left here. You go 1 and a second here, and up into 6th gear. Does he bounce up? No, he keeps it in 6th gear, so not going up too high in the gear counters, but it's a bailout there for Charlie. Must have been an invalidation. He's letting through Harry, who in the Williams is out, I believe, on what is going to be his last outlap, ready for a last lap hurrah.
We've got an issue with the time. This is supposed to be his fast lap now. He was on an outlap, and it's flashed up as outlap when it shouldn't have been. And unfortunately for Harry, he's once again run very wide in at least 2 or 3 corners, and it's just not been a session for Harry. He'll obviously get time to get another lap in, but I noticed it while you were talking about Charlie then, and having some issues on the left hand side with whether it's showing his outlap or not, because I was riding on board for his current fast lap, and then halfway through it flashed up as outlap. So some technical difficulties here with the F1 timing. But Harry now once again having, which will be his last run at it, he's really struggled so far.
Yeah, and it almost looked like he cut the corner there at turn 2, so we'll see if he sticks with it up into 7th gear for the Williams driver. Sitting here looking at the steering wheel of the Williams, not having to fight it too much, so the car quite planted, runs out slightly outside of the white lines there. So yeah, as we've seen, you can come under full foul of the stewards when it comes to track limits here. We've got yellow in sector 2 and sector 3 currently, so yeah, apologies for the technical difficulties, guys, with the lack of telemetry when it comes to who's on an outlap and where people are on track. We will try and keep you as up to date as possible, but we are on board here with Harry in the Williams, and he's now coming up to the second DRS zone. We'll see. There you go. DRS is activated for him, so he's running down towards turn 12 now. Slight kink and into turn 13. Like I said, heavy braking zone. Can he keep himself from locking up the tyres? He does. So we'll see. There's Charlie retiring from the session in 4th position, so he's not going to go any faster. Second row of the grid so far for him. He can be dismounted from that position by quite a number of drivers. Time, of course, has finished on the session, so whatever we see from the drivers now, and Harry bails out, so it was an invalidation for him, so he's going to be a back row start once again for him. So it's really not been a qualifying season to remember, as we just check on board here and see where the two Haas cars are on track. We've currently got Fountain and Sam in the second sector, and we'll see if Sam, he's currently 400ths of a second slower than his teammate White Fountain. Of course, the Belgian, his ETH has been so strong in qualifying over the past few seasons, so he can really turn it up when he needs to, as Adri retiring from 9th position on track, as well as, there you go, TNF Owen, a 31.6. He's the first one to get a provisional, or to get the provisional pole position time. He's the first one to cross the line out of these guys. What can the two Haas cars do? We've got Fountain coming up to the last two corners now. Sam is a fraction of a second behind him on the track now. Fountain's going to be the first one across with the Haas cars. Can he improve and get himself back on top? No, he can't. What can Sam do? His teammate in the Haas, he goes into pole position. It's a 31.512. Great lap there from Sam, and he is going to be your pole sitter for the Russian Grand Prix. And Owen getting himself right between those two Haas cars. But it's another really, really good qualifying for TNF Owen in his second race here at Invictus. But great lap there from Sam.
It was a super lap from Sam, and I thought for a moment Jumpalainen might have gone his way. He had Jumpalainen cruising at the end in front of him, and luckily the Racing Point didn't get in his way. Super lap from Sam there, but that's the big shock for me, is seeing Jumpalainen down in 15th place. That is going to take something really special if he's going to get on the podium tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and him and Charlie rounding out the back row of the grid, so that's going to be an interesting battle between those two. But there you go, Sam takes pole position in the Haas with 1:31.512, just around a tenth and a quarter ahead of TNF Owen, who gets himself on the front row of the grid for a second race in a row. White Fountain, Sam's teammate, back in third place with Speed Queen, a good fourth position for the Toro Rosso driver. Charlie is in 5th with Warrislander 6th. Meg Lugby going alongside his teammate in 7th. Burmeister is in 8th with Foxy in 9th. Adri rounds out the top 10 with Alex, Zyman, Rasty, Psycho, and of course you've then got Jumpalainen and Harry in 15th and 16th position. And yeah, so we'll be interested to see what the guys on the back row do with Jumpalainen and Harry. What do they do when it comes to tyre choice in the race? Do they change up what we're seeing? As you can, it's overcast, so yeah, it says it's meant to be dry. The weather report said it's meant to be dry, but you never know with this game. You never know if we'll see a couple of spots of rain here or there. So we'll keep an eye on the sky throughout the race and see if this Sochi Autodrome can throw up any surprises with the weather. And yeah, so of course, guys, just in between the gap, we will just quickly let you know what's going on for the rest of the week here in Invictus Racing League. It's Monday night, of course. It's the IRL F1 League. These guys are using no assists. It's the merger between the Wednesday night Equal Performance F1 League and the no assist league. So yeah, all the fastest and the best guys that are really, really running as spec in these cars are currently on track. The IRL F1 League. Sab and I, of course, always in the box. Monday nights 8 p.m. here for that. Tuesday nights, it's the Realistic Performance League, and Realistic Performance, of course, these guys week to week will be in different cars based upon their previous performances. So of course, if you've done well, you may get a slower car. If you've done not so well, you may end up in a faster car, and it allows the grid to be a lot closer when it comes to on track battles with someone that may be on paper a little bit faster. So it always keeps up the excitement, and that is Tim and Malc in the commentary box. Tuesday nights 8 p.m. here on YouTube. And then on Wednesday night, it's two leagues. It's the IRL F2 and IRL F3. These guys can use assists, and they are in a tiered formula, so F2 and F3, and F2 is currently covered by Energy Dan, and the Warrislander, of course, is in the McLaren this evening, and F3 is covered by Tim and Malc once again. And of course, you can watch that all here on YouTube, so make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And on Thursdays, it used to be the Formula 1 podcast with Sab and I, but we're currently breaking for the season. We'll be back next week for the Christmas special, but of course, if you want to go back and listen to all the back catalogue of any of the F1 podcasts where Sab and I will talk all things F1, you can find that on YouTube, equally SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes. So make sure you subscribe to all of those and let us know where you're watching. Equally, if you're watching tonight, let us know in the comments who you're wanting to win, who you're hoping to see do well, and equally, if you're enjoying it, make sure you press that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed already, as we've currently got Sam leading us around. And Sab, you've probably looked at what the guys have got laid on the wheels, and Jumper Line and Harry have gone for the medium compounded tyres, so they've gone for a slight strategy change.
Yeah, I'm not surprised actually, because that'll allow them guys in the second half of the race to be much faster than the medium runner guys. So if they can make the progress further on and get some moves done and keep with those soft running guys early on, then they could look very racy towards the end of the race. It's going to be very interesting to watch those two, especially John Polana, because we've not seen him that far down yet, have we? So to see him that far down, to see if he can fight his way through the field, this is going to be a completely different scenario for him tonight. Instead of out at the very front, leading into the distance. Sam, it's been a while, hasn't it, this season? It's been a slow burner for Sam. We've seen him fighting in 6th, 7th, 8th position so far this season, and we're used to seeing him on the podium and fighting for wins, and see him at the very top step at the moment will be very pleasing for him. But as we've seen in real F1, when both the Ferraris squabbled here, it's going to be very interesting down to turn 2, isn't it? Because that toe that the cars behind are going to get one hell of a toe, aren't they? So Sam could end up finding himself down in 3rd or 4th position come to turn 2. It could be a real struggle to keep hold of first place for him.
Yeah, we've seen that the Russia was one of those tracks where starting on the pole is not always the optimum place. So, Owen and Fountain, for definite, have got a real opportunity of getting a decent toe off him, getting off the line. So, look to see those movements on position as the cars all filter into their grid positions, and the final one will be the Williams, and that's the sight that we're used to seeing this season, and that is of course of Harry B. As here we are, the green flag is waving at the rear of the grid that will signal the start of the race. We've got 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Russian Grand Prix round 4, the IRL F1 League, and we're off and underway, and it looks like it is a good start there for Sam, who gets away, and Owen has just got a poor side, which means that the second Haas of White Fountains goes side by side with him. It looks as though Owen's getting pushed to the outside there by Fountain, but Fountain, he's just about going to try and stick around the outside, and he gets the move done. Fountain up into 2nd position. We've got a poor stop for Meg Luppy, who's dropped down 5 positions into 12th position. Sam maintaining the lead ahead of Fountain, but there you go, there's a battle between Speed Queen and Owen behind. Warrislander moving up, and you can see behind, side by side between Burmeister and Charlie, who's dropped down a number of positions already off the start.
Yeah, that was a great start, I'd say, for Sam. I was fully expecting him not to be in the lead come turn 2, and he's done superbly there. Well, White Fountain and Owen I think that probably helped Sam pull away, because White Fountain and Owen had a real good battle to try and take 2nd place, and White Fountain ended up with that 2nd place. So at the moment we've got a Haas 1-2. It'd be very interesting to see what team tactics are played tonight between them two.
Yeah, absolutely, and we haven't really seen those guys at the head of the field for a while, so it will be fascinating to see if there are team tactics, because at the moment in the championship standings they're not really challenging, so they'll be looking to get themselves back up towards the front end. We've got Warrislander chasing down after Speak when he's just under 0.4 of a second behind him, but it looks like everyone's managed to get away throughout the first lap unscathed. No one's really dropped off the back of the pack, but it is Sam that leads us round for the first lap, and the Haas car 1.1 second ahead of Fountain, so it's a good start for him. Charlie back in 6th position. He managed to get that place back off Burmeister, who in fact has dropped back behind Foxy Red. You can see behind the Harry getting past Rasty up into 13th position, so he's done well. Jumper Linen's not been able to make any moves off of the start. He's maintained 15th position. And Charlie here still following Warrislander, and we'll see between Harry and Harry and Rassi there still swapping positions, so
Yeah.
we'll just check in with that battle. Sab, you've probably been watching.
Yeah, I was following it. Sorry to interrupt. I was following. Basically, Harry went to get the move done on Rasty and just completely missed turn 2 and ran very wide and took the place off Rasty, and very good of Harry. He was very complimentary. He gave Rasty the position back, but now Harry back on the attack, right up the gearbox of the Alfa Romeo. He'll be eager to get past Rasty, as Rasty's now starting to slowly fall away from Meg Luppy in 12th place. So yeah, it was good from Harry, as we now see Harry does get the move done on Rasty, and he's dragging along with him John Polainen. John Polainen there, not quite made the start I expect him to be, but he'd be hoping to hang on to the back of Harry, who looks to be very racy early on.
Yeah, absolutely. So Harry getting past Rasty, jumper line, and hoping to go with him and start making his way up through those three, of course, on the medium tyres, as Sam does the fastest lap currently at 1:36.726, and he's got 1.4 second lead. DRS is enabled from this lap, so this is where we're going to start seeing some moves done, but it's going to be a bit of a DRS train. But we can see there FPL Charlie lining up Warrislander from behind. Warris going defensive into turn 2. Can he get it slowed down? Charlie getting all out of shape there. You can see the wheel going all squiff on the exit of turn 2, and that's going to have cost him a little bit of time, but we'll see there. We've got Adrian looking pretty close to the back end of the Ferrari. Will he send it down to the inside of turn 4? No, he thinks better of it. The Spaniard sitting behind the Dutchman, and behind that was CPI Alex going wide there, but he managed to keep himself pointing in a straight line. And we've got Rasty into the pits, and we've got the Ferrari there of Burmeister into the wall, losing the front wing, and off on track as well. He's going to have no grip whatsoever, and this is one of the tracks where you desperately need it. And I didn't quite see what happened to the Ferrari there, but it looked like might be a slight bit of contact, but it was contact with the unforgiving concrete wall on the right hand side. It's front wing loss for him, and Burmeister, poor luck once again for him, and he's going to be dropping down to the bottom end of the field. We've got Zyma now challenging with Adri over 8th position. The Red Bull looking very racy behind the Spaniard, and Adri's going to have to fight off what's currently going to be a battle between Zyma, but equally CPI Alex now getting involved with these two.
You might want to have a look at 2nd and 3rd place. Sam has managed to pull a 2-second gap on his teammate, and now Owen is putting mega pressure on White Fountain. He's going to get the DRS down to turn 2 very shortly. You would imagine if he can get any close to him, he's going to get the move done. White Fountain pulling to the right hand side to be as defensive as possible. He's just got enough of a gap, but at the moment, while this battle for 2nd place is happening, it is allowing Sam to just slightly pull away, and if he can use that to his advantage, then he's in a good place with me, because as we know, this track is a DRS train track. So if Sam can keep that gap from his teammates, he's in good stead at the moment. But Owen is putting real pressure now on White Fountain.
Yeah, absolutely, and Owen here sticking with Fountain. Fountain starting to almost hold up the field behind. You can see everyone closing up. Speed Queen, Warrislander, Charlie, Foxy even getting involved in this battle for 2nd position now. So has White Fountain taken a little bit too much out of those tyres in the early stages of the race? Have they got just those temperatures up just to maybe a degree or two too high for his liking, and they're just right on the edge of that grip, and he's maybe just out of that comfort zone when it comes to the braking zones? As Speed Queen here just looking to the inside of Owen and just trying to see if she could just nose that Toro Rosso up the inside, but Owen not having any of it. He's got his eyes firmly fixed on the gearbox of the Haas ahead, and it's looking as though it's a moment of when as opposed to if Owen can get past this Haas, because White Fountain seems to be really struggling. Owen always just sticking himself into the right hand wing mirror of the Haas, just let him know that he's ready, shaping him up for this turn. But they go straight across the line there to start lap 5, and Owen 0.2 of a second behind Fountain. This is going to be pretty much elementary. If he can get the DRS open and get the move done around the outside, he takes to the outside line. Fountain even under threat from behind, but it looks as though he's just about going to hold on to position for now, as Speed Queen now will start to have her eyes set on the Haas ahead. But she equally has got Warrislander and Charlie for company, and in fact Warrislander's going to think about it into turn 4. Not quite for the young Dutchman, and Charlie there, you can see they're thinking about too wide here into turn 5. Can they keep it on track? Just about. There's wheel bang in between the two. And Charlie making his way up into 5th position. Warrislander still there. They're still side by side. Charlie just about holding on to the car. This is almost Ken Block around the Sochi Oshodrome between the two of them. As Warrislander just about scratches and claws himself back into 5th position.
I don't know how them two didn't put one another into the wall. They were like you say, banging and bumping wheels all the way around there. It was great battling from the pair of them. To be fair, they raced hard. They really wanted to get that position. Warrislander defending well. Warrislander's wanted to keep an eye on Speed Queen and try and follow her to try and look forward. But at the moment, he's got a very feisty Charlie behind him, and it's slightly putting him off as Charlie just steps out a little bit. And the thing with this is it's allowing now, Foxy Red was over a second behind Charlie. This is now allowing Foxy Red to come back at this battle, and also Adri Lockdock. So at the moment, you're looking, you can see from 2nd all the way down to 8th in one picture. It's fascinating.
It is indeed, and here comes Charlie to the inside of Warrislander. And who's got the better straight line speed here between the two? Charlie's got the inside line, but Warrislander is going to try and hold on to it. He runs over the curbing, which means that he's going to have to probably give up the position, and he does. Charlie gets ahead of the McLaren driver. White Fountain was able to hold off Speed Queen ahead, and behind Warrislander is now got Foxy Red 2000 for company. So these guys all still fighting. The Toro Rosso CPI Alex equally deciding to go off into the different direction, taking a straight line approach to one of those corners back there as opposed to the right-hander. But just wanted to see, Owen did the fastest lap last time around, so now he's been released from behind White Fountain, was able to pump in a fastest lap, but he's had a scruffy first sector, and he's now dropped to 1.7 seconds as Meg Lugby picks up 3 seconds on lap 6 of the race. So that's an early penalty for him. He's down in 11th position at the moment. Rasty and Burmeister swap positions down in 15th and 16th position. We've still got this battle going on between Warrislander and FPL Charlie. Now it's Warrislander that's having a look at the back of us. We've got Adri Lockdock, sector 3. He looks like he must have gone off because he's dropping down the order, and we've got a yellow flag out. What's happened to Adri?
He looks like he spun it after the long straight on the right-hand turn. He was facing the wrong way. I didn't see the incident. I just seen him facing the wrong way. Luckily, he was facing the wrong way off the racing line, so he didn't put anybody off. But that's unfortunate for Adrock. He was doing all right, and he's got significant front wing damage, so expecting to see him coming in the pit lane shortly.
We see White Fountain battling for 2nd position with Owen and gets the move done. So Fountain back up into 2nd position. Speed Queen sticking with this battle, so she's still in the fight for the podium positions. Warrislander, Foxy Red and Charlie held position in 5th, 6th and 7th, but just off camera there. White Fountain getting ahead of Owen into turn 2. And goes back up into locking out the front 2 positions for the Haas team. Sam now stretching that lead out to over 2 seconds. So it's been a dream start to this race for Sam Pepito. Foxy is 3/10 of a second behind Warris, who's equally half a second behind Charlie. Into the pit lane comes Adri, and it's 3 seconds on the board for the Warrislander in 6th position. So he is the first of the real front runners to pick up a penalty. As it's White Fountain there running out wide and just rubbing up against the wall there. So that's not going to help your tyre life at all, as Owen is just shadowing that Haas corner for corner. Disc brakes glowing orange on that Williams as it was earlier in qualifying, as he slows it down into these almost chicane-like corners in the 3rd sector. Speed Queen, as we've said before, just sits behind these battles and just waits for her moment. She's a very wily driver. She doesn't make any rash moves when she doesn't need to. She just waits to pick her moment, and I imagine it's what she's going to be doing. Is she's going to be, in fact, she's had a really nice launch out the final corner here, and she's going to be sitting right behind Owen. And unfortunately for her, you can see she got off the throttle there for a fraction of a second, and she's just sitting behind this battle. Owen, he's going to have to go to the inside. Speed Queen, she's thinking about it, and Owen just about far enough ahead to hold off any sort of attack from the Toro Rosso driver. But this is much better from Speed Queen, isn't it? Back up in 4th position. This is much where we're used to seeing her.
Oh, most definitely. And what Speed Queen's now got to start thinking about is FPL Charlie. He was over a second behind Speed Queen. Now he's all over the gearbox of that Toro Rosso. So Speed Queen, even though she'll be focusing fully on Owen, she's now got to keep one eye on the a flying Mercedes behind her. And along Charlie is also bringing Warrislander. Warrislander just dropping back slightly. He's still within the DRS range of Charlie, but at the moment Charlie is the one who's looking to make moves at the moment. But Speed Queen, yeah, it's really, really good to see her, and what up there fighting. What I can always expect from Speed Queen is it's very rare. I don't want to put the jinx on here, but it's very rare you see her make mistakes, and you know she's just planning a moment, like you say, to make the move. And yeah, if I was Owen, I really wouldn't want Speed Queen behind her, because you just know she will pounce at the right moment, and next minute you'll see her long gone in the distance. So yeah, it's fascinating to see what on earth is going to happen here. But oh, it's Charlie, oh my God, Charlie, I thought he'd lost it then. He did a Fast and Furious style drift behind Speed Queen and somehow managed to hold on to it, and Charlie keeps going as Owen has done the same in the final corner, and now Owen's going to get swarmed. Owen is going to get swarmed by both Charlie and Speed Queen here. Owen's all out of shape there, and Charlie says thank you very much. He overtakes Speed Queen. Speed Queen probably a bit caught out of the fact that Owen did that mistake, and it allowed Charlie to get the move on both drivers. That promotes Charlie up to third, and Speed Queen then takes fourth place, but that was really unfortunate for Owen there.
Yeah, Charlie in fact goes from getting a huge snap on the exit of the final sector to essentially making up two positions, and Speed Queen compromised by Owen equally having a snap of oversteer on the exit of the final corner, as Adri picks up 3 seconds there, and Charlie just getting a free run down the outside line. So yeah, Speed Queen now, but she has got past Owen due to Owen unfortunately losing all that acceleration at the wrong point on the track. You don't want it just before a DRS zone, and it's now Charlie up into third position, fourth position for Speed Queen. So even though she's managed to get past Owen, she hasn't moved up through the field at all, which will be, I'm sure, be a frustration to her. But yeah, I was going to say, you don't become the 3-time champion here at Invictus without doing something right, and she's going to think about it to the inside and picks up 3 seconds. And we were saying she doesn't make mistakes there. Just thought about the move, and Charlie just shut the door on her, and she had to run across the apex that corner. And of course, that's 3 warnings, which makes a 3-second time penalty. We've got a yellow in sector 1 briefly there, has been cleared, as we've got Sam now into the pit box. So Warrislander came in last lap. Sam is the first of the top drivers. Owen equally into the pit box. 9 laps seems to be where these tyres are starting to lose that life.
Yeah, and White Fountain just before then was gaining time on his teammate because he wasn't getting any pressure from behind. He was allowed to have a go at trying to catch up his teammate, and he got it to within 1.4 seconds. So obviously then Sam must have thought that this was the time. The tyres are going. I've got to get myself in now before that time decreases anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if the likes of White Fountain, FPL Charlie, and Speed Queen and Foxy all come in this lap, which would make it absolutely fascinating. Can the undercut work for Sam? Sam has a lot of daylight. He's 13 seconds behind John Palin, so he's got pure daylight ahead of him. He can really attack now and hopefully get the undercut work and make sure that the likes of White Fountain and Charlie don't get the overcut on him.
How's this for an undercut? Warrislander is only 0.8 of a second behind Sam on the exit of the pit lane. Warrislander was down in, 5th, 6th position?
Yeah.
He's now found himself just under a second behind what was the current leader by over 2 seconds. He's there. I think that's a second penalty for Warrislander. That was a pretty deep cut there, and that one will hurt because 6 seconds is hard to recover. But he is still, he's fallen out of DRS of Sam, so frustration for the Dutchman. But it shows you how strong the undercut is here. So this might help Sam, because look at the likes of Foxy Red Fountain now coming in, and Charlie, Speed Queen, staying out. So they think that they're still happy on those soft tyres, trying to run a little bit longer and deeper into this race on those tyres, as Warrislander He was is now 1.3 seconds behind Sam, but we'll see where Fountain comes out. He's still in the pit lane, trundling down towards that pit exit. How far ahead of Sam can he be? Sam's already gone past him. Warrislander's already gone past him. White Fountain is going to fall way down. Does he fall down behind Owen? Owen not quite close enough, but Owen managing to stay ahead of Foxy Red. Foxy just coming out of the pit box as well. Owen having picked up a penalty on the last lap on his exit of the pit lane. As we've got the closest battle is of those of White Fountain and the Warrislanders split at just around a second, and equally Foxy Red behind Owen. Both of those guys have recently made their stops. The only ones yet to make a stop on the soft tyres is Speed Queen, Charlie and Alex. And of course Harry and Jumper Line, and we haven't really talked about those guys too much. Started on the medium tyres in 4th and 5th position.
This is a question I hope we're going to get answered soon. Is this going to cost FPL Charlie and Speed Queen staying out this long on those soft tyres? Because the Warrislander, has proven that the undercut works around here, as now Charlie does come in and Speed Queen follows as well. So will FPL Charlie and Speed Queen lose out massively here, because those medium tyres, fresh out of the blanket, seem to be working a treat at the moment, as CPI Alex, because he's teammates with Speed Queen, has to carry on. So Alex is going to suffer a lot here doing an extra lap on those soft tyres, because he couldn't obviously stack in the pit lane. So I'm going to be absolutely fascinated to see here what they do with Speed Queen, as Speed Queen now just gets released by pit crew. So where is this going to put FPL Challenge Speed Queen, as Sam does get past, so does Warrislander, so does White Fountain, and you'd imagine TNF Owen also gets past, and Foxy Red gets past. So this is massively backfired on the Mercedes crew there, because now Charlie finds himself, yes, with fresher tyres, but all the way down in 9th place.
Yeah, a lot of work to do for both Speed Queen and Charlie if they're to get themselves back up in the podium positions, and Alex equally staying out. So he wants to get that feeling of leading a race here in the IRL F1 League, and he's almost our Antonio Giovinazzi, as Harry picks up 3 seconds there. So unfortunate for the Williams driver to pick up 3 seconds. We lost Adri in the 2nd sector last lap. Not sure what happened to Adri, but a brief yellow flag situation in the 2nd sector. So I can see debris on the exit there of that corner. I believe that's turn 8 and turn 9, as Charlie picks up 3 seconds. And we've seen what penalties have done to him in the past, and it's cost him race victories, as it did last week. So it's well, that's probably the last thing Charlie wanted, fresh out of the pits, picking up as Alex picks 5 seconds speeding in the pit lane. So penalties are starting to flash up as we or just around to get to the halfway stage in this race, just about to come onto we've gone the 13th lap of 27. So yeah, the penalties will start to come thick and fast, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see more and more penalties from now to the end of the race. I'm quite fascinated in the battle at the front with Harry and John Plinen. John Plinen hasn't really managed to get close to Harry since the early stages of this race. Harry's managed to keep a 2.5 second gap to John Plinen at the moment. It'd be really interesting to see what those guys do and how far those guys can go into this race, and what they can do at the end on those soft tyres, when this will be extra racy on those brand spanking new soft tyres. But at the moment they're on 12 lap medium tyres. It'd be fascinating to see, can they go to, say, maybe lap 17 and have 10 laps on the soft tyre running at the end, as Harry runs very wide there. He's starting to push the limits a bit too much. Has he took too much out of those medium tyres already? I don't know, because he already has picked up that 3 second time penalty. But at the moment Harry is keeping a comfortable gap to John Plinen, which for me is a little surprising, but it just shows you Harry's pace from last season especially starting to shine through a little bit more in this race.
Yeah, of course, multi-race winner last season. As Charlie here shaping up Foxy Red going on the exit of the second DRS, and he's going to send it down the inside. There's contact between the two, very, very hot into the corner. There's secondary contact between the two. Foxy Red doing a nice job to keep that Alfa Romeo in a straight line. A pretty bold move there from FPL Charlie, and that will be frustrating for the Alfa Romeo driver, and he probably was thinking that the overtake wasn't on there. He'd closed the doors. Warislander and White Fountain quickly set a fastest lap. It's 36.012 for Fountain, as we'll go on board of him, in fact, who is just behind Warislander, and we'll see if, in fact, Warislander having a look to the inside of Sam, so he's not dropped off the back of Sam. He had at the start of this stint, but he's seemingly caught back up to the Spaniard ahead, and now just under 4 tenths behind him. So Warislander, he started the season well, hasn't he? He had that really unfortunate luck in Hungary where he was running in the top 3 and had a penultimate lap crash that cost him his White Fountain. How did he keep that pointing in the right direction? That was all over the shop there on the exit of that corner, but the Belgian doing a superb job of recovering what was looking about to be a very expensive moment for him and the Haas team, and to equally not lose any time as Foxy picks up 3 seconds there. He almost seems to have made up time by doing that. He's now only 5 tenths a second behind Warislander. But it seems as though his teammate Sam is holding up, as unfortunately we've lost Rasti from the session down in 14th position as well. So a fortunate race for the Italian this evening. But is this tactics from Sam to perhaps hold up Fountain, hold up Warislander and just look after these tyres, or is Warislander and White Fountain got the pace on him right now?
I would say the latter. It seems like Warislander and White Fountain just have the pace on this tyre, and Warislander is much closer now. You would imagine this DRS is going to pull him right up to an opportunity to attack here. Here he goes then. Sam's sticking to the left-hand side. Is Warislander going to try down inside? No, he's not. It's just not quite enough. But for me, Warislander needs to try and get this move done as soon as possible, because he's got that 6-second time penalty hanging over his head. There you go. White Fountain says, thank you very much. If you're not going to get the move done, I'll get a move done on you, as they both tangle, pushing White Fountain out. And unfortunately for Warislander, he was half making a move on Sam and finds himself losing the position out onto White Fountain. And now we've both got the Haas drivers fighting for position, but White Fountain sensing an opportunity there as he saw Warislander make a half attempt on Sam.
Yeah, this is your effective race lead battle currently going on. So we've got White Fountain just under 3 tenths of a second behind his teammate Warislander, coming back at Fountain down into the second DRS straight, gets the move done already, so that was quickly done there. Alex picking up a 3rd penalty in about 3 laps, so it's not great for the Toro Rosso driver, as Warislander has got back past White Fountain with pretty easily done there. So these two swapping positions after changing at the start of the lap, with White Fountain getting a pretty cheeky move down the inside of turn 3 after making up for the battle. But then equally behind, you've got another 3-car fight between FPL Charlie, TNF Owen and Foxy Raiders. Fountain there cutting the corner somewhat, so I imagine he was given a little bit of a wagging finger from the steward saying don't do that again. But here he comes back on the Warislander. We're about to see another change of position for effective second lead, side to side to side. Who's going to go for the move? Warislander, in fact, once again just breaks late into the corner, and that's going to give White Fountain a really good opportunity of going around him, but he's not going to be allowed to go around one side. So White Fountain is going to go to the inside, to the outside. Can they? Oh, it's contact between the two again. Keep it safe, boys. Just about keeps it out of the wall. These two really going toe to toe with each other and slugging it out, not wanting to give an inch. And somehow Sam is managing to stay ahead pretty safely out of this fight.
And what this is doing is now bringing FPL Charlie along. He can see the back of that Haas now and the Warislander. He got the move done on TNF Owen down the second DRS straight. Nice move there from Charlie. He managed to then defend nicely from Owen, who was trying to come back at him with DRS. But now Charlie, he can sense a potential podium here. He can see those two squabbling. And Sam not too far ahead either. So when the likes of Harry and John Plyan do pit, you could have a mega battle for the podium at the end here.
Yeah, absolutely. And White Fountain currently sitting on 17 points in the championship. Of course, second place finish in Germany 2 races ago. He's very slowly having that battle, as you said, that battle with 3 cars behind join him for this this fight between us. Harry pits from the lead of the race onto the soft tyres. So what can the Williams do doing that soft rubber in the second half of this race? We've got 10 laps left to go at the end of this one. And it's going to be a pretty thrilling end as Fountain picks up 3 seconds. They're running wide on the exit of turn 2 into turn 3, so that's picked him up 3 seconds, so that's going to cost him. We know that Charlie's sitting on a penalty behind, and I believe Owen and Foxy have equally got penalties. I have not seen one flash up for Sam though, so he's sitting pretty at the front of this pack. Warrislander's got a couple of penalties underneath him as well, so these guys, as they were joking about pre-race, this might come down to who's going to be the cleanest on track and keeping it within the white lines and keeping the race stewards happy. And this battle between Fountain and Warrislander has cooled down somewhat after the 2 laps ago, when possibly with borderline these guys just getting a bit of a telling off and saying, you know what, keep it clean, keep it away from each other. You don't want to be pushing each other towards the walls, as what looked like at one point on the exit of turn 7, I think it was, that these two were fighting. Meglapi picking up another 3 seconds there. He's down in 12th position, so it's not a good evening for the McLaren driver. Out of the points currently, as we've still currently got Charlie not quite making up the ground that we were thinking, as Alex picks up another 3 seconds in 10th position. And of course, one of the rules here in Invictus Racing League is 15 seconds of track extending penalties or any invalidation penalties will incur an automatic disqualification. So I think Alex is on the verge of that at the moment, so needs to make sure that he keeps it clean for the final half of this race. As Fountain once again running across the line, as Foxy and Owen pick up 3 seconds in a fraction of a second between themselves there. As Fountain once again running over the curbing at turn 2, which was lucky to not pick up another time penalty, locking up the brakes as he tried to keep Warrislander behind. Sab, what have you been watching?
Wow, what a battle we've got for 8th, 9th and 10th here. Harry, he's come back out on those soft tyres, as we know. CPI Alex went for a daring move down the inside of Simon at turn 2. They sort of banged wheels, and then suddenly it was like parting of the seas. Both of them pushed each other wide, and Harry went through a gate and slotted straight through, took both positions off them quite comfortably in the end. And Harry now was hoping to get clear of these two quite quickly, and he certainly has done. It was a big help from the pair of them as they clashed, and now that frees Harry up to go and chase down Speed Queen. And I have to say, Speed Queen, she's been a bit quiet this second half of the race, hasn't she? She's languishing down in 7th place, 4.5 seconds behind Fox Road. This second half of the race has not quite gone for her.
We have had a change for the lead, and just as we came off this battle for the front, Warrislander had a super run down the DRS straight, has managed to get past Sam, so Sam lost time. Warrislander has got to the front of the field on lap 19 of 27, so there's been a change at the front. Now Sam is going to be under threat from his teammate behind, as Harry does the fastest lap of the race, 1:35.4, so Harry is going to be mega over the end of this race, so watch to see where he can get himself back into this fight. He's got Speed Queen ahead. We know that she makes that car that she's in about 40 feet wide when it comes to overtaking, but we've got this crazy battle for the front at the moment. Look at the gaps between the guys. The intervals are almost absolutely nothing between first position and 7th position. In fact, we'll check to see what the gap is between the leader. There you go, down to Foxy. It's only 3.2 of a second, so we've got a 6-car battle over the lead.
Incredible. And Warrislander, I think what he needs to do now, if he can, is break that DRS section and get out of there, because you got to remember he's got that 6 seconds worth of penalties, and at the moment, even though the likes of White Fountain, Charlie and Owen do have 3 seconds, if they stay within 3 seconds of Warrislander, they're all going to jump him. So however Warrislander is sat there in first position right now, he's going to find himself not even on the podium. So it's game on for the McLaren driver right now. He needs to make these last 8 laps like quali laps, basically. Just go for it and try and pull away from this chasing pack.
2 quick overtakes there that we caught. No, we didn't manage to catch on camera. Alex getting past Simon into the second DRS zone, and equally Harry managed to catch and pass Speed Queen with relative ease there. So that is a man on fire currently. So Harry B, R25 in the Williams, now only 5 seconds as he does another fastest lap. So it's 2 laps in a row. It's a 35 flat for him. Jumper Linen does a 34.6. So he's not a slouch at all. As Charlie and Fountain battling over 3rd, 4th position. Charlie now up into 3rd position, but manages to pick up another time penalty for his trouble there. And White Fountain coming back at him. Charlie trying to run out wide, and Fountain managing to get back down the inside. They're going to go side by side. Can we keep it relatively clean into this corner, because it's going to be tight between the Williams? Oh, there's the Williams of TNFO, and thinking about it, Foxy Red equally sitting behind his battle. We've got a 4-car battle over 3rd position at the moment.
Mad, isn't it? I was right on board with Foxy Red, and he's just cars everywhere over the track. Foxy just trying to pick a place where he could potentially get a move done, or just stay out of trouble pretty much. It's unbelievable, this battle for 3rd place right now. I honestly don't know where we're going to be sat in terms of penalties at the end, but at the moment White Fountain coming back at Charlie trying to stay defensive here, and this is allowing Sam and Warrislander to pull away into their own little battle, because now Charlie is 2 seconds behind 2nd place. So Charlie now is going to have to get his defensive work out here, as he's going to get pressure not only from White Fountain but TNFO and Foxy Red.
The gap between the tyre, or the concrete wall, and White Fountain's tyres on the exit there of turn 16 was about 3 millimetres. That's how hard White Fountain is trying to hold on to the back of Charlie. Charlie looking as though he's just about going to hold on as Jumper Line and picks up 3 seconds of time penalties there. We've got this crazy battle, as you say, going on. It's hard to find a camera angle to find the best position for these guys, because it's all going on. Samuel Pepito staying within the DRS of Warrislander. It's only 7/10 of a second between himself and Warris. At the moment, it's going to be back up into 1st position for Sam. If it stays like this, White Foxy Red is going to do well to miss the Tech Pro barrier there, as he just about gets it back on track, and missing his braking point. Once again, Charlie now missing his braking point, and White Fountain. So these guys right on the ragged edge of grip, corner to corner, will be caught in some real severe dirty air between the cars. Think of how Foxy Red would be feeling with all that turbulent and hot air flowing over the cars, as Fountain finally picks up that penalty that looked like it was coming his way after cutting a couple of corners over the last few laps, and he picks up another 3 seconds. Will he lose positions, as Alex does pick up another time penalty there? So it's going to be, I believe that's going to be an end to Alex's race, which is really unfortunate. Although he's got Jumper Line of company on much better and nicer tyres, so I imagine Jumper Line will be moving up. But it's been a struggling race for Jumper Line, and he's really struggled with qualifying not going his way, finishing qualifying at the back end of the grid, starting with Harry. But Harry's managed to fight through the field, and he's now only 2.3 seconds behind these guys, so he's made up 2.5 seconds in about 2 laps, and he's going to be joining this party, and I imagine about 2 laps time. With these guys battling over position, it should make his job a lot easier, as TNF Owen's going to go in hot into the corner. He's just missed the rear end of the White Fountain's rear tyre there, and that's allowing Foxy Red to think about it. Foxy Red having to go to the outside line. Will he be able to get it slowed down in time? How was there not contact between the two there? Foxy equally having a snap of oversteer on the exit. Oh, Sab, can I breathe?
Go for it. Take a breather. I'll just update you. Jumper Line, and he really has had a struggle so far. It's took him just over 1.5 laps to get past the likes of CPI and Zyman. He had a real good battle, and at one point Zyman nearly got the move back on Jumper Line, but finally Jumper Line has made those red soft tyres work, and he's got the move done. He'll be hoping to aim to try and catch up with Speed Queen, 4.4 seconds. But I just wanted to point out Harry B now is coming up to less than a second behind Fox Red, and all of a sudden Harry B could be fancying himself for a podium here. I'm sure he's only got 1 time penalty at the moment. I could be wrong on that, and if he has, quite a few cars ahead of him have got at least 2, so Harry B is right on the rear end of this train now, and suddenly on those soft tyres he could become a real thorn in the side of the likes of Fox Red, TNFO and White Fountain here. So Harry is definitely one to watch for these last four laps or so.
He's only done 5 laps on those soft tyres. The guys ahead, Owen, 13 laps. You look at Warislander, 14 laps on these medium tyres. So that rubber will be it's still within its working window, but it will definitely have had that initial best part of life scrubbed right off of the surface. And Harry, he's going to have to really pick his points here, because he's not going to want to make any rash moves. And in fact, we'll follow him and see if anything happens with him over the next lap or so. Foxy Red looking very close to the back of Harry. In fact, he's going to go to the inside. There's contact between the two. Owen not wanting to give up an inch, but it looks as though Foxy's got the move done. These guys really not willing to give up position tonight, and it's not a track that particularly allows overtaking at certain corners, but they're definitely finding a way. And although you'd like to think they probably need to attach some bumpers to the flooring and the sides of these cars, because at the moment there's a bit of over exuberant tapping between the guys, side to side, panel to panel. But what happens now between the teammates, Sab? Does Owen let Harry through on fresher and much better tyres?
You took the question right off my lips. That was literally what I was going to ask you. You'd imagine Owen surely would allow Harry to go through it, because he'll be much racier and have a better chance of taking on these guys. But Owen, will pride get in the way? Will he want to say, no, I'm on equal status with my teammate. I want to fight for this position. I'm just as deserving to fight Fox Red. But Owen has fallen slightly away from Fox Red, so Harry now is much closer to Owen than Owen is closer to Fox Red. So you'd imagine Harry here. Is Owen going to allow Harry to get the move done? Yes, he does. That was an early break there from Owen. Owen coming back round though, that's surprising, and Owen does get the move back done on him. So Harry then retakes the lead. So a bit of rivalry there between teammates as Owen tries to send one down the inside, but it looked like Owen just allowed Harry through. Maybe Owen just wanted to make it not too easy for Harry, but Harry does eventually get P6. And then next up on the targets is Foxy Red for Harry. Just over a second as Foxy Red is hounding the back of that Haas car of White Fountain. He'll be wanting to keep an eye on his wing mirrors shortly, because there's going to be a very fast Williams behind him.
Absolutely, and of course we're early on into the season, only round 4 of 12, so 25% of the season done at the completion of this one, as Foxy Red goes to the outside of Fountain. They're going to go side by side, and in fact he gets the move done. Will White Fountain try and come back at him into the braking zone? No, he doesn't. So Foxy Red up into 4th position currently on track. Good move there using the DRS jumper line, and finally gets past Speed Queen up into 8th position. But now White Fountain's going to find Harry behind him. But yeah, as I was saying, early in the season, so these guys still battling over team supremacy in the championship. No one's really got a leeway in the championship, as Psycho picks up 3 seconds. Meg Lugby, I believe, picked up 3 seconds a couple of laps ago. But now Harry, he's got Fountain lined up exactly where he wants him, and Fountain in fact does not have DRS ahead, and this looks like it might be pretty much deal done. Will Fountain try and fight it? No, he's not going to have any extra grip, and in fact he picks up another 3-second time penalty, so I believe that's 9 seconds for Fountain. He's going to try and stick it around the outside though and send it down the inside into the next corner. Not quite. Harry's got the grip on those tyres. He will be slowly, of course, these soft tyres, as we saw earlier in the race. They managed to do 8-9 laps after doing 2 or 3 laps in qualifying equally, so it's around 10 laps that those tyres start to go off. So Harry's going to come up to that in the next lap and a half or so, so he needs to really get these moves done now, because it's where this stage where the graining will start on those tyres and they'll start to lose that life. So he needs to jump Foxy Red, and then he's only going to have 2 laps left to go to try and clear up to Charlie. And of course Charlie's sitting on a couple of penalties. We know Warislander's sitting on a couple of penalties, and in fact Charlie is caught right up to Sam, and as we've said before, there's no love lost between those two. So we'll quickly go on board with Charlie and Sam and see what happens between the Haas and the Mercedes.
Harry is right on the gearbox now of Fox Red. He needs to get this move done as soon as possible if he's to catch Charlie, because Fox Red now 2.2 seconds behind Charlie and Sam. So if Harry is to catch that Mercedes, he's going to have to get the move done now so he can have a real chance in the last 2 laps. He's got to get this move done. He's right on the back of that Alfa Romeo, and if he's going to want to try and challenge for this third place, he's got to get the move done. Whereas Charlie now he gets the move done. Has he got the move done? Yes, he's got the move done on Sam. Dives down the inside. Sam didn't really have an answer there with no DRS, and now Charlie up into P2 with Harry 2.2 seconds behind Sam. 2.1. He needs to really now fully focus. He's got Foxy Red, Foxy Red trying to stick one round the outside. This is a brave move by Foxy Red, and he gets the move done on the outside of the track, and that will really annoy Harry, as Harry then decides, no, you can't do that. I'm coming back into fourth place, and Harry does take fourth place, and Harry doesn't really need to be getting caught up in this, does he? Because this is just dragging him away from that battle for third place at the moment, and he's still stuck at around 2.2 seconds. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. I didn't see what that was for, but yeah, Harry, he's in a battle which he doesn't want to be in right now, is he? He's trying to focus on catching Sam, as Foxy Red is not giving up that fourth place just yet.
No, we're on the penultimate lap of the race, lap 26 of 27. We've now got a yellow in sector 2. Is that for Psycho, who's just come into the pit lane? It may have been a slow car. Or no, it's CPI Alex, who is retired from out of the points. Of course, he was struggling with penalties, as Fountain picks up another time penalty. And Fountain struggling at the tail end of this race to keep it within the confines of the track surface. As Sam now is just about staying inside the DRS of Charlie, but it is now 1.7 seconds on the final lap for Harry to try and catch to the back end of Sam. But at the moment, as we speak, it's currently looking as though Sam Pepito will be taking the race victory, as Harry picks up that penalty. And that may call an end to his challenge for a podium, because I believe that's a second penalty for him, which was a real blow when it comes to the last lap of the race. Foxy Red there once again taking the scenic route on the exit there of turn 4, and yeah, but it's looking as though Sam has managed to keep it relatively clean in this one, and Warrislander once again will be absolutely gutted. He's going to finish the race really nicely. And he's in fact looking as though the race is going to come to him and he's going to cross the line in the lead. But as we've seen already this season with one driver, they may cross the line in the lead, but they will lose the race victory. And currently it's looking as though Warrislander may be the person that is next on that list. And you can see behind Foxy Red still battling with Harry over 5th position, but we'll go on board with the Warrislander the final few corners of the race. And it's a moral victory for him, I'm sure, from the cockpit, and he will come across the line in the McLaren to take the checkered flag, but we will see where he drops as he picks up. Oh, that's frustration boiling over there, and he's going to drop right down. There's Charlie Fulton, and Harry does get up onto the podium. Oh, we can see White Fountain dropping down to 7th position, but Sam Pepito, what a fantastic race for him this evening, takes the race victory ahead of Charlie. Harry on the podium, Foxy Red in 3rd, Warrislander is in 4th, TNF Owen is in 6th, Jumper Linen manages to get up to 7th position, Speed Queen in 8th, White Fountain dropping to 9th position on track. That's gutting for a driver that was doing so well so early in the race. Zyman is the final points holder in 10th position, and then outside of the points I believe it was Meg Lugby and Psycho. But yeah, the Spaniard reigns supreme in Russia, and he's back on the top step of the podium in the top formula here at Invictus, and it's something we haven't seen for a while, so he'll be absolutely delighted with that when we get him into the commentary box very shortly. And Sab, I'm sure you've got a few questions lined up for Sam, and equally for Harry and Charlie, and of course Harry having fought from the last position on the grid from 16th on track. What a race from these guys, and what a race from the really the top 7. They really fought for that one. But you can see there the stewards were kept busy. But it is Sam that takes the race victory in 44 minutes and 5 seconds, 1.8 seconds ahead of Charlie, who unfortunately with that 6 second penalty lost out. Harry is in 3rd position after coming from 16th. Foxy Red making his way from 9th into 4th. Warrislander finished on the front, finished in 1st, but unfortunately drops to 5th on penalties with 12 seconds penalties. Owen in 6th, Jumperline in 7th, Speed Queen in 8th, White Fountain in 9th, and Zyman in 10th position, rounding out the points. Meg Lugby's Psycho are in 11th and 12th. Psycho 1 lap down, and unfortunately we lost Alex Rasti, Adri and Burmeister earlier in the race, and in fact Meg Lugby, I see they're picking up quite a few penalties himself. So yeah, it's been a scrappy race from these guys, and although we see them with a lot of penalties, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun, yeah, and I'd probably give Harry the driver of the day for me. It's a shame he got caught up in that battle with Foxy at the end, because maybe if he'd not got quite caught up in that, he might have had an opportunity to challenge Charlie. But yeah, it was a good race with some superb battles side by side, with a lot of wheel banging, some fair battles as well. So yeah, in the end, unfortunately, time penalties have proven to be the race winner, but this track always kind of gives you that, doesn't it, unfortunately?
Yeah, it does. And yeah, but it was Sam that really made the most of it, and he was the one that stuck with the lead battle, and although losing it a couple of times to the likes of his teammate and to Charlie and later on to Warrislander, managed to stick in that battle for the lead, and has come across the line and finish in a fantastic first place. And then equally, I'm sure Harry and Charlie will be pretty happy with themselves to be finishing on the podium. Well, massively for Harry after starting 16th on the grid. So yeah, a pretty spectacular race to watch. If you've just caught the end of this one, make sure after the end of the stream you go back and watch this one, because wow, we saw quite the fight between a number of drivers, and it's been a real spotlight for these guys to shine on, as Sab and I, of course, bring you commentary every Monday night, and they've really knocked it out of the park so far this season, haven't they, Sab?
Yeah, they have, and we've got all 3 podium sitters here in the chat with us. Make sure you've got your party settings to allow voice chat, so everybody at home can hear you. I'll start with Sam. You got a podium, a very good a pole position, a very good pole position at the start, and finished off with the race victory, your first race victory of the season. How does that feel for you?
Yeah, I mean, amazing. I mean, I have been so close to the win in the last 2 seasons, maybe, and to finally get it and get it this way. I think I was struggling a bit with pace overall. Charlie, Waris, and I think the guys behind were faster than me in the second part of the race on the mediums. So I was just trying to concentrate on not getting any penalties. If someone was faster, just let him pass and be in his DRS, so I could just be with him. So I was trying that with Waris. And yeah, I mean, I seem to qualify well, but then my first stints seems to go well, but then when I put the mediums or the hards, I just seem to struggle always. But it's very nice to win.
Yeah, congratulations. You deserved it after, like I say, a superb pole position, and to get the race victory, and you fully deserved it. And on to Charlie, a second place, another second place, 2 second places in a row. It's a tough track around here, and with so many penalties being dished out and all those side by side battles around here, are you pleased to be getting second place, or do you think you could have had first?
I think I had the race pace for first in the end. I was really strong towards the end of both stints. So, yeah, I could have won, but I seem to be glued to second place at the moment.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think one day you will get that top step. It's close. It's just not quite close enough, unfortunately, for you for tonight. But it is good points again on board, which will help you in the championship. And on to Harry finally, third place. He started at the back of the grid on the alternate strategy in the end. It looked like a tough qualifying for yourself. You couldn't get a lap really nailed, and then the alternate strategy really helped you in the end. And then on the soft tyre, you were absolutely lightning. How was the race for yourself?
Yeah, the race was really good. When I first came out, I was so far behind. I think I wasn't even in the top 10, but I think like from first place to about 7th was like always battling. So I mean, I was taking well over a second a lap on a lot of the guys, and I sort of ran out of tyres towards the end, but I just managed to get ahead of Foxy Red. But I've got to massively improve on qualifying. I think 3-4 races in the last 5, I've started right at the back, so it's just about trying to get a lap in really properly.
Yeah, if you can get a lap in and have that sort of pace, who knows, you could find yourself on the top step again like you were at the end of last season in no assist. Just finally back to Sam, it's can this win now give you the momentum and the confidence to really challenge for the title this year? We've seen John Polainen storm to an early lead. Are you able to build on this going into the next few races?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the last 2 seasons, for whatever reason, at one time in the season I was leading, and then I couldn't manage to win it. So maybe this season is gonna be the time to win. But I think it's gonna be very hard. I mean, very fast drivers. Yeah, like you said, Jon Palainen. I think we all have an eye on him, just to. I mean, like he doesn't get away in the standings. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough, but this win really puts me back in the fight.
Yeah, it really does, and like I say, congratulations, Gareth. It's really opened the championship up now with the likes of Jon Palainen finishing for his standards quite low down tonight. He still scored points, but certainly opens it up for these guys to potentially challenge him at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a fantastic season so far. We've had 3 different race winners out of 4 races, so it's been a real super start to the season, and it's great to see Sam back on the top step, and equally Charlie doing what he does best and finishing in second place. So it's gonna be good to see what these guys can do over the rest of the season. Of course, we've got America up next, and it's another track that will test these drivers out when it comes to track limits, and then of course that Christmas break. And can we see it's after we come back from Christmas in the new year, it's straight to Azerbaijan and Baku, which will really test out these drivers, especially in that second sector of the castle section. So we've got a couple of quite challenging tracks coming up, so I'm expecting some real fireworks over the next few races or so. And really, with Jon Palainen not really scoring too well in the championship tonight, it's really opened it up. So, if anything, it's making this race in the USA a mouth-watering one, because it means that we can go into the Christmas period with the championship wide open.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what we want. We don't want anybody running away with it. Or even though he has been superb early on, you don't want somebody running away with it too early. You want a close battle early on to give these guys something to fight for. And if we can go into the Christmas break with a few points difference between 2 or 3 drivers, then it's definitely going to be game on for the second half after Christmas. So yeah, USA should be a cracker. I always enjoy racing around there personally, so should be a good race to see how these guys get around there. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't have as many time penalties either.
Absolutely, and I think the guys are expecting tonight to be tricky when it comes to track extensions and extra penalties on the race, and unfortunately it seemed that it was that cost the likes of Warrislander the race victory tonight. So hopefully we'll see a race next week when the guys can battle it out on track, and we won't have to worry about any extracurricular activities after the race for penalties. But another absolutely banging race here in IRL F1, and these guys have started up the season in superb style and hot form, and may it continue into next week in round 5 in the championship. And of course, guys, it's not the only race here in Invictus Racing League this week. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m, Realistic Performance League with Tim and Malc in the commentary box for that, and equally on Wednesday, IRL F2 and IRL F3. Dan and Warrisland in the commentary box for F2, and Tim and Malc back for F3 on Wednesday night. So make sure you join us here on the YouTube channel for that. If you're not subscribed already and you'd like to watch more content like this, make sure you press that subscribe button. And equally, if you've enjoyed the race tonight, if you enjoyed Sab and I's commentary, make sure you press that like button. It works wonders for us. And equally, if you want to do it, if you've got a social media channel, make sure you share it on your channel. Just let everyone else know that there's been a fantastic race on this evening, and to get it out to the wider audience. So it's really good to see you guys enjoying everything. The view's been really good, so thanks for making this a spectacular season so far. And Sab will round up for the night, getting ready for the for the next, or the races coming up for the rest of the week. And you've got, of course, yourself in the realistic performance race on a Tuesday night, and we'll just preview that quickly. And what are you expecting for tomorrow?
Many more penalties. But no, seriously, it should be interesting. I always find Realistic Performance League interesting because, like you pointed out earlier in the stream, it allows everybody to race that much closer, and you can find yourself battling with people you wouldn't normally battle. And around Russia, if the racing is as good as it was tonight, we should have another good race for people to watch. I've personally struggled around here in terms of penalties, but I'm sure, as we proved tonight, it's not just me that struggles around here with penalties. So it could be, unfortunately, another race which is decided by penalty. But hopefully we have a lot of good side-by-side battling like we did tonight. We saw some superb battles, wheel banging and stuff, and it was all hard but fair. So fingers crossed we can have something equally as good tomorrow night.
Well, make sure you join us tomorrow night for that. Subscribe if you're not already. Ding the bell to be notified when we go live with any future streams as well. And, of course, you can join Sab and I next Monday for round 5 of the IRL F1 League here on YouTube, of course. But for tonight, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you have a great week. Enjoy the rest of the races this week here at Invictus Racing League. And, of course, if you've liked the race tonight, make sure you press that like button if you haven't already. You can find Sab and I on social media at GT2_driving for myself, at Alan Sabatino for Sab, at Invictus RL on Twitter and Instagram, and Invictus Racing League on Facebook. And of course, get yourself on the grid by going to the Apply to Race section on the website invictusracingleague.com, where you can find all the rest of the details about the league. And of course, if you'd like to become a premium member, you can also go to the section there, and there's plenty of goodies. And in fact, we've got a special gift coming up on the Christmas podcast in a week's time, so make sure you join Sab and I next Thursday for the Invictus F1 podcast Christmas special. But that's us done for this evening. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we will see you next Monday for round 5. Good night.